We're in pretty close to the Compton area, actually. Oh, yeah, if we want to go. Okay. He's probably going to go to the end of the freeway. Yeah, going soon. Go ahead. Copy that. Elsa and Jeff, copy that. Thank you. All right, northbound on the 110 now. That's right, Jeff and Elsa. Here we are. We're now northbound on the 110 away from the 91. Now, this all started with the Compton, LA County Sheriff's Department with a stolen vehicle here. So it started in the Compton area and made it all the way to the Torrance area, and that is where sheriffs handed it off to CHP. They are now the jurisdiction handling this. This is a reports of a stolen vehicle now on the right shoulder. There you go. Northbound 110 approaching the 105 freeway here pretty quickly. Allegedly a stolen vehicle here. This is a newer Nissan Rogue, so it's, I believe it's one of those crossover vehicles or maybe a light SUV. But CHP is now they had canceled the units and they were just going to handle this with the airship overhead. But as you can see, there's one or even a couple of units that are actually in tow here that are pursuing this. Speeds so far that we've seen haven't been anything too wild. We've heard them, I think the highest speed I heard them calling out here with the cross chatter was about 80 miles an hour. So this has covered quite a bit of ground now. Again, started in Compton, made it all the way to Torrance, and then came northbound on the 710, and then was westbound on the 91. And it looked like he was trying to pull a fast one on CHP when he got off the freeway here just before the 110, and then doubled right back and made a U-turn and got back on the westbound 91. And now he transitioned northbound 110. So we're through South LA as we head so far towards downtown Los Angeles in pretty light traffic, I got to say here, Jeff and Elsa. We have not heard that yet. I have not heard them give any description of any suspects at this point. But we'll just zoom out here and see how many units are in pursuit here. It looks like we have two, and then that is the CHP chopper overhead. We had LA County Sheriff's choppers. They were overhead earlier, but CHP took the handoff. So this is primarily CHP handling this report of a stolen vehicle northbound on the 110 towards downtown LA. A little bit. I think this is going to be the furthest north that he's gone now at this point. I shouldn't say he. We've had plenty of female suspects as well. Now getting off the freeway, I believe they're called the Gauge, northbound 110, exiting the freeway Gauge. So we're right in the middle of South LA now at this point. So, yeah, I mean, that, it picked up in Compton, but, got as far south as Torrance, so that's kind of far away, and then kind of made a big loop around. And now this is the farthest north, I believe, the chase has gone here, as we're in South LA, exiting the northbound 110 at Gauge. They've kind of been going back and forth on this, Elsa, and in fact, I just heard them say once again that they're going to have all of the ground units pull off. So I don't know if they're, really concerned about the traffic coming up ahead. It looks like we are getting into some heavy traffic, and they were talking about having the ground units pull back again, just probably, in case this suspect started driving, a lot more wild. You know, I was actually speaking with a CHP officer the other night, Jeff, and you know, every chase is different. Protocol is different in every situation. I would, you know, they may suspect that this person is armed. We hadn't heard how this vehicle was stolen, if they held somebody up and stole it at gunpoint or something. But a lot of times when they have them go back in tracking mode, they are concerned that the suspect may be armed and dangerous. So that's one possibility, although we have not had that confirmed yet at this point. Yeah, that's a pretty good possibility. They may re-engage once they get back on surface streets. They may have to hand it back off to may have to hand it to LAPD depending on where this goes. We're actually westbound on the 105 now, eastbound, excuse me, eastbound on the 105. We were away from the 110, and you know, eastbound. This is the volume side in the evening. This eastbound drive on the 105 could be a pretty brutal one, and it does continue to be a slow ride, not completely locked up. He is moving at a decent clip, but again, I'll zoom out and you see that it looks like the units have indeed disengaged, and it looks like CHP at this point is content to just manage this from the air and see what his next move is going to be. You know, hope that he'll give up. Maybe he'll run out of gas. Just have to see what CHP's next move and what this suspect's next move is going to be. Yeah, thank you. He is, yes. This is central, and he's lined up to go southbound. Again, we'll see what the suspect does. We saw him try to pull a fast one here really quick when he got off an off-ramp on the westbound 91, and then actually did just flip a U-turn really quickly and get back on the freeway. So that is not an option here. He's just sitting right here at the bottom of the off-ramp here, getting ready to make the turn. And, you know, kind of peculiar. Sometimes we see this. I've noticed that you see he's using the suspect is using their turn signals, so they are south on Central now. Been using turn signals when switching lanes. Again, we haven't seen any crazy excessive speeds. Haven't seen the suspect running any lights either when we got overhead. But of course, this is an alleged stolen vehicle. But at the very least, we can say has not really been endangering anyone's safety as far as really erratic driving so far. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously there's a lot more variables when you get on surface streets. You have pedestrians, you have cyclists, you have people, you know, flipping between their radio stations and not necessarily paying attention to everything around them. So yeah, there are a lot more variables. It is very peculiar. This is particularly strange, though, that we're really not seeing any engagement here. We're at the corner of Central and 120th. And Larry, you see, just obeyed the traffic laws there going through, didn't attempt to run any red lights, which we see so often with these pursuits. And in fact, even essentially driving pretty close to the speed limit. So this is pretty odd following so far. Again, this has gone from pursuit to following to pursuit and kind of back to tracking mode at this point. So we just have the CHP chopper overhead, and it looks like he's making turn onto eastbound 124th Street. And so we're kind of on the edge here of Compton and South LA. And, you know, this is probably not a random maneuver, I would say, knowing how these suspects behave. Let's see. Maybe he's going to go home and hopefully just surrender themselves. But we'll see. Well, now doubling back. Yeah. Yeah, so they are, they're I guess they're just kind of keeping their distance, and that was very odd. I was trying to listen in to see if CHP was going to say anything about that. They haven't said anything as far as what was going on right there, but I'm sure they exchanged a glance, and obviously you have a spotlight overhead, and so we're southbound once again on Central. That was 124th Street he had been on, and there was the CHP chopper that you just saw fly into our shop. They're just about 500 or so feet below us. We are southbound on Central again, just crossed El Segundo. That was the signal that the suspect was waiting there so patiently. So we're southbound on Central, kind of, back, getting pretty close to Compton Airport, actually. And we will be, at this rate, back to the 91 freeway here in no time at all. So that will open up more possibilities. And he had been on the 91 freeway earlier, headed westbound. So we'll have to see once again, but we should be on the 91 here pretty quickly. Yeah, really hard to say. You would think, especially like you said, as pedestrian as this pursuit of this following is going so far, that it would be a good opportunity to end it in that manner. But yeah, very, very, very strange here, and have not received any. Eastbound. No, they're just calling out the streets here, and this is another high-numbered street. I believe we're up near 130th or so. That was, or headed eastbound, though, away from Central, so paralleling the freeway. And, you saw him, though. It did speed up there for a little bit, but came to a complete stop at that stop sign. And so very strange, most likely a familiar neighborhood. As we often say, a lot of times that's what these suspects like to do. They like to stay in places that they know pretty well and hope that they can perhaps evade the officers if they have a more intimate knowledge of the neighborhoods, about one-way streets or cul-de-sacs or stuff like that. So headed back westbound. I think I just heard 153rd and there's Compton Boulevard. So we are indeed in the city of Compton, right where this started. So we've essentially come full circle at this point. Yeah, he was eastbound on Compton Boulevard and now turning southbound, excuse me, southbound away from Compton Boulevard. And so once again, headed kind of back down towards the 91 freeway. Yeah, and I mean, he did have units right behind him earlier. You saw on and off, but he's probably wondering what's going on too. I mean, he may be wondering, why aren't they following me? They had been behind me and they gave up, and always, kind of hard to speculate what's going on in their minds. But this is certainly one of the odder pursuits / followings that we've covered so far. Yeah, maybe. Oh no, I was no, eastbound on Almond now, and this is a street that curves back around. It looks like to the south. So, yeah, it's been in the in residential neighborhoods here of Compton for quite some time, and like you said, also maybe he's looking for someone that he knows, maybe thinking that he can take shelter somewhere, or a lot of times we'll see him try to get as much space as they can away from the authorities, and then run out of the car and run as fast as they can. A couple of people here just kind of squeezing by. Let's see what happens here. If this is, looks like this is just a stalled out vehicle. Kind of peculiar. Looks like they're getting ready to. Yeah, well, yeah, that was really weird. It looked. Yeah, that was just a broken down car. I think that was a coincidence. Heard eastbound Laurel now, and so just south of Compton Boulevard. Still, I believe, in the city of Compton. And now, look at this. Now turning into an apartment complex. Maybe this is, let's see what he does here. Well, now, well, yeah, it's got the reverse lights on. Yeah. Yeah, just yeah, I know it's very strange the lack of urgency on both sides here between the CHP and between the suspect. It's I can't recall ever seeing something so lax, frankly, as this situation that we're watching right now. Now he's eastbound on Wilmington. Yeah, that's almost a certainty, Jeff. Northbound on Wilmington. So now we'll be coming back towards the 105 freeway. Now speeds are picking up a little bit. Now we're starting to see a little bit more of a sense of urgency here. Northbound on Wilmington. Oh, go ahead, Jeff. I had heard my pilot just told me that there are 3 units that are behind him, but I just zoomed all the way out and didn't see any. So now, yeah. Is this Artesia? Yeah, definitely. Trying to get this street name for you. We just came away from Wilmington and headed eastbound now, away from Wilmington Street. And so it's just south of, I'm making a northbound turn, still just south of the 105 freeway, I believe, at this point. Oh yeah, we were just on Rosecrans right there. Southbound Wilmington. Oh. Yeah, that's indeed, and I've been trying to listen to see if they're talking about any difference in how they're going to engage this, but haven't. They've just mainly been calling out the streets, and I think part of the reason they got so close there is because he made a big loop there. He was northbound on Wilmington, then southbound, and then looked like maybe he was going to loop back again, and then now he's southbound. Southbound on Wilmington again. That was Rosecrans we just crossed earlier, that major intersection, and coming up on Compton Boulevard. There's another CHP officer there monitoring on the northbound lanes. So we should be coming up to Compton Boulevard here pretty quickly in Compton proper. That's that apartment complex. Yeah, and we were just eastbound there on Laurel again, and we actually had just passed that apartment complex, Elsa, that we thought that maybe we were speculating the suspect was trying to get into, but we're now approaching. In fact, this might be the same apartment complex, just on the other side of it. Kind of looks like it. We've looped around from that apartment complex. This is Laurel, which loops around and was headed towards Alondra, but now he's facing northbound again. And once again, at a stop. I've been seeing this quite a bit. It almost just looks like confusion. You know, really, like this guy thinking, well, you know, what am I going to do? It looks like he's got the window rolled down. I believe that's the other side of the apartment complex, because the street bends around, and we saw earlier he had gone through the front side, and then that looked like that was the back side. I believe that was the exact same apartment complex, so maybe something going on with that if that's where the suspect lives or has friends. Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems like it. We're westbound on Alondra now. Again, through the city of Compton, and right in between the 105 and the 91 freeways. And we're going to be headed, most likely, looks like northbound on Wilmington again. Wilmington and Alondra looks like is preparing to turn northbound on Wilmington, again, back towards the freeway. Yeah, it might be a combination of all those things, Jeff. I know we've seen pursuits where sometimes they do things for attention, and you know, we've seen some of that before, where, you know, of course the infamous one on Hollywood Boulevard where the driver was doing donuts, and so that comes to mind. And yeah, it did look like an element of confusion, but I am still wondering about that apartment complex back there. But we've long since moved on from that. We're still eastbound on Compton Boulevard, away from Wilmington. Yeah, and coming up on Alameda now, Alameda and Compton. So pretty busy streets, but besides those odd maneuvers, just making that circle there and driving in circles, at least, again, we're not seeing any crazy, really brazen driving, cutting anyone off. Or I know that one that Stu covered last week with the guy with lost the wheel and got down to the axle. Now it looks like he's motioning out the window, and it does look like a male. And you know, earlier from the earlier vantage point we saw, Jeff and Elsa, it looked like this person was the only one in the car. turning back around, going northbound again. Or right in front of the Compton courthouse, huh? Back to Compton. Are we westbound? Eastbound Compton. No, well, we were just in front of the Compton courthouse there. We were near Alameda and Compton, and we are back eastbound now on Compton Boulevard, away from Alameda. Again, it's just a very strange situation, and I don't know if this guy's just enjoying this newly stolen vehicle and enjoying it of his last moments of freedom. If he knows he's going to jail, who knows? Maybe like you said, the authorities may know who this person is, and maybe they're out on parole. There's really an infinite amount of possibilities and speculation, you know, that could be made about this situation. But we are still eastbound on Compton now, away from Alameda and paralleling, kind of right in between the 91 and 105 freeways. Not at all, Elsa. Not besides the chopper there that you see overhead. That's really it at this point. We heard them, you know, disengage quite a while ago, and after he pulled that maneuver on the 91, and I think they just deemed it maybe too safe, and they thought the situation was escalating. And the CHP has been content to stay backed off, and this guy seems pretty content to just kind of tootle along here through the streets of Compton. Okay. Eastbound, right? Is there one or two choppers? Okay. Still on Compton? Well, I can tell you that we have 2 choppers overhead now. The one that you just saw flying to the shot was the LA Sheriff's Department airship, and they now have the CHP airship overhead as well. So that we have 2 helicopters now following this. But again, not seeing any engagement from any of the authorities. I believe we're getting into the Bellflower area now. We are eastbound still on Compton Boulevard. You saw us cross over the 710 freeway here not too long ago, and we're now in the city of Bellflower. Eastbound seems to be a little bit more urgency now with this suspect. Eastbound on Compton and coming up to an intersection here. Now coming back westbound again. So once again looping around now westbound on Compton just as we were getting into the city of Bellflower. He's going to be approaching the 710 freeway, but there's no ramp here, so he'll need to go north or south to Rosecrans or one of the other ramps if he intends to get back on the freeway for this. Huh. Here we go. Now they got, look at, he got, he's got his door open. Yeah, I did, and I just saw more units going eastbound there as well. Looked like they were kind of, we'll try to get in front of this tree here. Stand by, guys. Very inconvenient placing for a tree. Yeah, they got the door open there. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like they were getting ready to try to bring this to an end at this point, like they were getting ready to jump out. But now look at this. Now see, they go and they re-engage the guy, and just as things had been, you know, kind of going along here at a pretty safe clip, now we see speeds pick up. We see him cut on the wrong side of the roadway to make a illegal left turn, and you know, and that's why a lot of times they do back off, because they're concerned about these types of things, and the suspect gets kind of panicked, and they start doing even more brazen maneuvers. But we are starting to see a lot more units now in the area. It certainly looks like they are ready to try to engage this suspect and try to finally bring this to an end. And we're on Alondra Boulevard right now. Yeah, it's always an odd question. I know that when it comes to the pit maneuver, I can tell you that they essentially have to get permission from one of their superiors, and that may be the case with spike strips as well. But this has just been very, very bizarre all the way around, from protocol from sheriffs and CHP, and just the behavior of the suspect. And I believe we are still on Alondra headed westbound. Yeah, we are westbound now over the LA River, so we were pretty close to the 710 freeway as well. And yeah, it does continue. Now getting on the freeway. He is getting on the freeway. One second. We westbound 91 to the northbound 710. So we're northbound the 710. I've been getting kind of turned around here, guys, just because this guy's been going in circles so much. But we are now northbound. Yeah, go ahead, Elsa. Oh. Go ahead. Copy that. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, hi there, Booth. I heard we're just going online with this right now. Okay, copy all that. Let me check with my pilot here. How are you on fuel, Marcus? 50-50. Okay, before we need to go back, or total, or what? Okay, Booth, we have 50 minutes before we need to break off for fuel. Coming up to the 105. Oh, the 5. Oh. All right, getting off the freeway here is this Florence. Yeah, right by the new casino. Oh, psych. No, he's going to stick with the freeway. No, well, the news is going, but we're just online right now. God, that scanner has gone dead completely. That's, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why I always. Yeah, I'm getting into a Caltrans work zone. Yeah, always is, always is. Atlantic Bandini. Yeah, we are in the city of Commerce, on the border of Commerce and Vernon right now at Atlantic Boulevard. Okay, getting back on the freeway or no? Oh. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Got him. Got him. No, no, look it. Oh, wrong way down the ramp. Oh, pin him in. Stop him. Nope. Wow. Didn't work. I think we're on District now. This is District Street. Yeah. Now it's definitely escalated. What's that? Yeah. Okay, are you going to play video of that? What just happened? They did indeed, and we recorded that. I'm not sure if you guys got the video on the ground. Hopefully you did there, but he exited the freeway northbound 710 and was getting off into the Commerce Vernon area, and then was getting back on the freeway. It's a really weird ramp there at Atlantic Bandini. Was going to get back on the North 710, and then we saw CHP kind of creep up next to him. They had lit him up. So they were trying to tell him to pull over. He would. They got him next to him. executed what looked like a perfect pit maneuver, and we're at District, and it looks like we're headed southbound on Downey now, but they had tried to do the pit maneuver, spun him around, he recovered really quickly, and then weaved his way down the on-ramp, going the wrong way, went down the on-ramp back onto Atlantic, and was westbound on District Street through the tiny city of Vernon. I believe it actually may still be in Vernon. He's southbound, though, on Downey at this point, so things definitely escalated at this point, and it definitely seems like CHP wants to bring this to a conclusion. Fair. There goes another pit maneuver. We're at Leonis. Leonis, oh boy, this guy will not give up. We were at Leonis Street, and that's actually one of the founders of the city of Vernon. So we are still in the city of Vernon, but wow, look at this now, guys. Now headed back southbound, and it's really picked up. Looks like he's turned his lights out as well. Now this guy really wants to get away. Just like a complete 180 from what we were watching for the first half hour to 45 minutes of this chase, where the suspect was obeying all the laws, even with the spotlight overhead, and now things have really taken a turn for the worse, and this guy has really picked up his speeds. Behind that building. Yep. They are. That is what we have been seeing here. The CHP with the first one was one of the old Crown Victorias. This is the newer, much more capable Ford Explorers now that we're seeing in pursuit of this Nissan Rogue, this crossover vehicle. Just crossed through Pacific Boulevard. I believe we're in the Huntington Park area. We are westbound right now. I will try to get that cross street for you here in a second, but I did see that we did just cross Pacific Avenue in the Huntington Park area south of downtown LA. Wow. Yeah, very scary situation here, just south of downtown LA. And at this rate, he will whiz through Huntington Park in no time at all, and we'll be in South LA and south of downtown. We may be on Washington right now. This guy is flying along so fast, and I actually haven't heard any of the chatter here from CHP either calling this out. But it's obvious they want to bring this to an end, and just look at how maniacal this guy is now driving. Yeah, I would say probably more than 50 or even 60 miles an hour, so pretty close to freeway speeds here. And so is the unit now pursuing him as well, having to really keep up with this guy. And we've been seeing too that this guy is Slauson, so we were on Slauson, and now turning southbound away from Slauson and the Huntington Park. I believe we're still in the Huntington Park area. This might be Central again, the street where we saw so much of this pursuit going on. And so we will be back into South Los Angeles, I believe, at this point. Do you know what this is? Hooper? Okay, we're on Hooper Street. Oh, southbound Central. Do we still have 2 choppers overhead? Who is it? Sheriffs or? Okay. Well, they handed it off. It sounded like just to a different section of the CHP, so I had to kind of rekey in my frequency here to stay with what they're saying. But it kind of looks like they may have disengaged again. Well, now that they're at least keeping their distance. You can see the one unit still back there, but not being quite as aggressive as the unit had been, and that was what kind of seemed to really start the kind of bedlam that we're seeing right now. There's also just one chopper overhead at this point, and that is going to be the CHP chopper. It sounds like the LA County Sheriffs have disengaged. But yeah, things have really stepped up here, and definitely seeing crazier driving, much more dangerous situations. Still a lot of people out here. Not going to be expecting someone like this to to just fly through here like that was the 105 freeway he just went underneath. We're southbound on Central right now. You know, a lot of people out here trying to do shopping there just whizzed right by that guy who was trying to make a right turn, and speeds have really increased. We've been seeing sustained speeds over 50 or 60 miles an hour now on the surface streets, and not afraid to drive on the wrong side of the road and not afraid to blow red lights as he did right there. Now eastbound away from Central, and still, judging by the blue sign, it looks like we're still in the South LA area, but not too far away from Compton. Compton Avenue. So this is kind of where he was earlier. Eastbound? Are you southbound? Yeah, I believe we were on Compton Avenue, and we're headed back. Actually, it looks like we're southbound, Marcus. Can you help me out here? Yeah, just 1 second here, guys. Yeah, looping around the Compton area, and I believe we are going to be southbound once again. We were just off of Central and Compton Avenue, and El Segundo was also in the mix there. So quite a few very busy intersections. Yeah, probably about 55, 60 miles an hour, I'd say, when we are southbound. So I believe this is going to be Central again, which is where this guy has spent quite a bit of time right off of Central and Rosecrans and all across the Compton area, just kind of looping back around these surface streets again. Now coming to a stop. Let's see what he does. Turn the lights off. Got to get out from behind this palm tree. And there he goes, trying to kind of walk out casually as if nothing is wrong. Now he's starting to take off. Yeah. And going behind some buildings here. He's waiting right behind. Oh, this is kind of a scary sit. Yeah, now they're pulling up. They've got him now. This guy does not seem to want to go peacefully, though. Yeah, as if he's... yeah, very strange, just as if to say, no, I'm not the person you're looking for. Even tried to put on a... yeah, well, that was the yeah. It looks like non-lethal force there. I think they got a taser. Yeah, they're tasing him right now. There you go. You see the lines out. Suspect is down. Non-lethal force. He was not going to pull a fast one on this guy. or rather on the CHP. They obviously were very aware, and game over, finally. This long joyride, we saw, yeah, very good news. This is finally over. It started off as a rather pedestrian chase and then got very erratic there for the second half, but it has come to a conclusion now. It looks like, I believe we are in the city of Compton. Is that it? It looks like it might be a woman, actually, huh? See long hair? I think it is. Well, yeah, hard to say. Hi, desk. Copy that. I think it is a woman. I'm just trying to see if it's a guy or a girl. I think it is a woman. Very interesting protocol that time. Huh? Yeah. Did you hear what streets this is? I don't know. They just said till further notice. So in 15 minutes we'd have to return to Van Nuys? Okay. Simon Dest just wanted to give you a fuel update. We got about 15 minutes before we would need to return to Van Nuys, and a little bit longer than that if we wanted to go fuel it like Hawthorne. Okay, we will return to base, back to Van Nuys.